I want to share about my experience climbing Mount Snowdon. It's something that I never thought that I would do in this lifetime because I just have no ambition to do it, no goals, just no draw to it. But I think there's something about climbing mountains day after day and maybe being on the lands of Snowdonia. We started off on Friday the 12th of June climbing Kedar Idris, and I don't know why it's on my Google pinned list of sacred sites to go to. Someone must have told me to go there because of some story, and I just have no memory of it whatsoever. And then when Kara and I were driving in Cornwall, we were listening to the Emerald podcast that spoke about Dinas Emrys, about the story of King Vortigern and the Wizard Merlin and the story of the two dragons in battle with each other, and then the red dragon won, which is why it's on the Welsh flag till today. It's about endurance and resilience. That's why Dinas Emrys was on the pinned list. So I have been following stories, and whenever I hear a story, I pin the location so that I can go there and live the story through the body. So Mount Snowdon isn't on the list, but it should be, because after climbing it, when I researched about where is the Excalibur and where is the Lake of Whales that's said to be the lake of the ladies of the lake, it's very much pointing to the two lakes of Mount Snowdon. But I didn't know this before. Hannah, our friend, was saying that it's ridiculous to come to Snowdonia and not to scale Mount Snowdon, but the intention was to take the train up and then take the train back down. But the day off, when we were checking the train tickets, it said that the earliest train up and down would be the last train. Also, for context, the day before, we met two men on our walk up Dinas Emrys. At the peak, when we all sat together, one of the men said to us, actually, if you climb Kedar Idris, which was what we did 2 days before in our very first mountain in Snowdonia, he said then Mount Snowdon wouldn't be such a big feat compared to that, because Kedar Idris requires like a lot of scrambling and unsteady rocks, but Mount Snowdon has a wide pathway if you take the easiest path. And still, this was coming from men who like run up Mount Snowdon and run back down in like 1.5 hours. So I just took it with a pinch of salt, and again, still no desire to climb it whatsoever. And also my whole body was aching from 2 days of just non-stop ascending and scrambling and using muscles that I haven't used in a long time. But on the morning of, Hannah and Kara were talking, and then they were just putting the idea out there. Maybe we climb up and then we take the train back down. They brought it up to me and I was like, okay. My thought is that if I don't enjoy it and if it doesn't feel physically endurable, I'll just climb back down and I'll just wait at the town or at the base. So we decided to go ahead, and this was also with the context that Kara and I had a conflict the night before. We were both not feeling great on that morning. So when we reached the summit, we were getting our meal, getting ready to climb. She decided to pull out because she was feeling very tender and she just wanted space to take care of herself. Usually that would also pull me away because I cannot stand the idea of climbing 3 hours up, 3 hours, 4 hours up, being in conflict with her and not being with her. But for whatever reason, I had just enough strength that day to feel like, okay, I can do this. And also I have Hannah with me. I'm not doing this by myself. So to just go ahead, we had our lunch. I had fish and chips for sustenance, and then we climbed up. And I think when we started, it was around past 2. The start of it was killer. Like, I have no footages because it required both my hands with the walking sticks, and it just required all of me because it was such a steep ascent up the first part. The second part was reasonable. We were walking on stones the whole way, and some were big stones, so I had to really focus and to make sure I don't like just twist my ankle. So it was just really pure presence with every step, just not to assume that steady footing is guaranteed, because it's not. And halfway there was a little cafe where me and Hannah just paused for a little break before we continued again. The view was just stunning. It was so incredible, and it makes sense also because we started with a big ascent, so we already had a horizon to enjoy, and we just continued. Halfway through, I asked a group that were coming down, like, how much further do I have to go? And they were like, do you want to know the honest truth? I said yes. And they were like, okay, you have 400 meters more to go and you've done 500, so you are just over the halfway mark. And I think they meant in ascension. And they were like, if you look over there, that's the hardest part. And once you've done that, you're good. So that was comforting enough. And I just continued. We paused at just before the hardest part, enjoyed the view a bit, and then we continued. And I think I stopped a few times, but really the view was so breathtaking, and I'm so happy I did it. And also the whole time I was just praying and praying and praying, like, please let there be 2 seats on the way down. Just kept imagining that it's done. When we were just about to reach the summit, I realized, oh my god, today is like new moon in Gemini. So it feels very, very special. It feels like really new beginning. We did it. We scaled the top, enjoyed the view, and well, I didn't enjoy it so much because I was like, I want to make sure I get us tickets down, and the train had just arrived. So I told Hannah, okay, you enjoy the view a bit more. I'm just going to go down and get us tickets. When I went down, there was this big poster that says all trains sold out for today. My heart dropped to my feet. I was devastated. The sign there was so obvious, like, okay, this is what's happening, but I just went to ask the cafe staff, does that really mean there's no train tickets to come back down? He was like, yeah, most probably, but if I were you, I'll just wait for the guy to come back and then just double check with him. So I walked over to the ticket booth and the ticket officer was outside. And I wasn't supposed to go outside, but because I was so anxious about getting us seats back down, I went out and I was like, can I please have 2 tickets down? And he was like, I think you can, just wait a second, let me count. And then he looked at his notepad and 11 people who came up were not going to take the train back down. So they were going to come up and then walk back down. And thank God there were 2 tickets available. And at this point, Hannah came in and I told her, we got tickets. And actually, she was not perturbed. She was like, okay, if I don't get tickets down, it's fine. I just walk down. For me, it's like I was just mentally prepped to take a train back down and not walk down for another 3 hours. So I just waited, and at this moment, I went to the back of the train station and I was just sitting and looking over the 2 lakes. And I think that those were the 2 lakes of the Excalibur and where the ladies of the lake were. Just when I took a photo, a seagull came and just stared at my camera front and center. It was so magnificent and it really felt like a sign. I just felt like spirit was really here. You know, even with the anxiety of being in conflict with Kara, feeling like, I can do this really hard thing of scaling Mount Snowdon, which Hannah said like people really train for, and I've had no training whatsoever. So it just felt very, very assuring that no matter what happened, spirit is always here. So Hannah and I took the train back down, and I was also like praying that please let me have a decent seat on the train because of the anxiousness I feel when I'm taking public transport. Sitting at the window or just at the door near the exit is really supportive. I was just praying for that and we got that, and it was right at the front, so it's just really good. Everything that could go right went right. We just enjoyed the view the whole way down. I feel like my takeaway from this day is that hard things doesn't have to be so hard. It's really a build up in the mind, but with the remembrance that spirit is always here every step of the way. Honestly, hard things don't seem so hard. So I wouldn't think of myself as like someone who wants to go around climbing mountains, but I do feel like scaling Mount Snowdon has gave me some strength or reminded me of the strength within that I had long forgotten. And I really do feel this is the power of pilgrimage. Whatever it is that makes us say yes to going to those places, moving through the terrain that requires us to move through the initiation, the threshold to get to the actual sacred site. It is that is slowly sculpting us, changing us, building character, building inner strength. I feel like that's why I'm in love with pilgrimage in this way, because it really expands what is possible. And if you're still here and something here really speaks to you, I'm hosting a pilgrimage this August. Next month, across the ancient lands of Cornwall and Glastonbury and Wales and Bath, we will be receiving the transmission of the goddesses, the myths, the legends, the lore of the land, and really allowing the stories to reflect back to us what is alive and bubbling and churning within us, to see then what it is that we are ready to meet with within ourselves, to integrate, to love, and also to grow. I can't wait to pilgrimage with you this August. Reach out to me if you want to know more. See you!